Hi, I'm Stephanie Gray. You have found yourself in a conversation called Holy Shift, and I'm glad you're here. Welcome in. I love to talk about the shift in consciousness that is happening right now. And I love having conversations about what we can do to be a part of the shift in consciousness. Um, on the outside, if we invest too much time looking at the news or fighting with a coworker or within, then we're not going to be feeling into it. And the energies that are here now are here to help us release what is no longer serving us and bringing in more heart space awareness, more awareness of our truest self, the frequency of that, the essence of that. And that's like what's driving this shift in consciousness. If you are new here, I get my information from my own team of lights, and they reach me either through dreams, but more than likely as I'm creating. I am a creative transformation guide. I am an intuitive and I am an artist. I have been a process artist for almost 30 years now. And that is how all of this awareness of self has started to come online. That is, I believe, doing so much creative work has allowed me to open something up inside and to be able to receive the information that I do receive. And I also believe that we all have this in some capacity. We know our in our truest of hearts, we know and have the wisdom that we're seeking. So I wanted to share a little download or channeling that I received probably about 7 months ago now, as I was creating. And I believe that it is extremely important as I'm creating this. It's probably, I don't know, 2nd or 3rd of February in 2025. And the chaos energy is nuts. And that's what this is about. So I'll just read it and then we can chat. So here's what they said. Chaos energy is providing practice to ground yourself. Make yourself the anchor. Breath, stillness, water, sunshine, creating delight and rest. Become so familiar with your essence and frequency, it becomes a mobile home. Soon you will not need to retreat nearly as much. I don't know about you, but I have to retreat a lot, and but it is getting better. It's not about managing the chaos; it's about transmuting it with your frequency, which that was huge when I heard that. And as I've made just a couple of different changes here and there, I can definitely feel a difference. So, what are they talking about? When they say make yourself the anchor, it getting invested and curious about who really is within. Who are you? Who is that energy within? Who is the truth of who we all are? Now, I believe it's divinity. I believe we have an expanded self, a very wise self within. And I believe this because I've done so much work creatively, creative self-discovery, right? Over and over again, and really moving the things up and out that's needed to transmute. But also, when we do that, we get to actually discover who we are within. Like, oh, and then things like channeling and information and wisdom and being in the heart more comes online, and compassion and all that stuff that's needed for what's happening next. Um, so if I was to say anything, I would say that the energy in the like the energy right now feels like a frothing sea, right? That it's just a turbulent sea that if you even dip your toe in, the undercurrent is just going to pull you out. And it's so hard to get yourself back to shore at this point. And when I talk about chaos, like, I mean, I can feel it in my body. I woke up this morning and felt very off center, very woozy, very almost confused, just not right. Um, wasn't sure if I was coming down with something. I just felt, I felt gross. But then my husband woke up and he had the same thing happen. So he's always a really good, it's good to have like a buddy to like confer with and say, am I going nuts? Am I getting sick or what's going on here? And he had the same thing going on. It didn't last long. And I think the the sooner we can recognize, okay, this is some of that energy that's going on the planet right now, the sooner we can sort of move through it with breath, with awareness, with just, self-care. So, all of that to say, I truly believe that moving through 2025, it's going to get a little worse. I know, and I hate that, but as things dissolve and crumble, there is chaos that's involved. And that is what's happening. The old has to go before the new comes online entirely. Now I can feel into the new, and the more we can become aware of those energies and of what's going on within and really connect with our heart, really connect with our truest self, the more we can feel into that. And practicing present moment awareness is the biggest leg up we can do for ourselves. Like that is a really big one. Creativity is another one, another big boost that will help navigate through these choppy waters. So, present moment awareness does not always have to be meditation. I mean, there are tons of meditations that can happen as you're walking, especially through nature. Also, you can be doing the dishes and be very present in that moment, just present to the soap and the dish and making contact with the sponge. Cooking, getting into creativity. Creativity isn't just about art, folks. Creativity is I mean, we are creative. That is our birthright. We have a creative spark within us. It just needs to be kindled a little bit. Like we need to just do what we can to bring it back online. And that can be as simple as picking out, just really getting curious about what do I want to wear today, not just because it's clean and it's on on top of the dryer, which I did today, but what does my soul or my heart want to wear today, and getting creative about that, cooking, baking, just scribbling and moving with some color and breathing is creative. Singing in the shower, singing in your car, that actually definitely helps move things. And I know I've talked about this because it's one of my favorite things to do because it activates the vagus nerve and it really helps keep us centered and moving forward when we can very easily in these energies go into freeze mode, right? So taking care of our nervous system is important. And that brings me to the next thing I want to talk about, which is self-care. What does self-care mean to you? It's not just a bubble bath, although a bubble bath would be fine. Anything that relaxes our nervous system, an extra nap, talking with a friend, hanging out outside, being with animals, hugging a tree, seeing water, listening to water, journaling, all of that. Anything that brings us back home to ourselves into that stillness, um, that moves us away from the chaos that's happening in the world, the news, any sort of warring thoughts, any sort of fighting outside, in community, maybe, um, anything that brings us back to self, back into our hearts, back into self talk that is not harming, back into loving ourselves. And then it comes right back out into having empathy and compassion for the people around us, our neighbors, the people at the store. And that's when they're talking about, it's about transmuting it with your frequency or your being, right? Because we all hold our own very special frequency. And when we're super familiar with that, it can change just the entire way that the room feels when you walk in. And that's what the energies on the planet, not just the chaos, but the energies that are coming in are helping us with. And so the more we can do that, we are being assisted. We are being assisted. I was speaking to somebody earlier who was saying, I've never really been able to meditate before. And it's been years since I've tried, but I tried and I could do it. So, I mean, I truly believe there are energies that are helping us and helping move things along. So, really follow when you can that thread of delight that can run through us when we become familiar with what is it that I really like, what lights me up inside, and moving, even if it's the simplest thing, like I'm going to take a step outside. I'm going to be out there for 3 minutes. I'm going to take intentional breaths and I'm going to look up at the sky or whatever. I'm going to take my shoes and socks off and I'm going to walk in the grass if that's at all possible. Um, so yeah, it's about being very intentional. And I just love the idea of being this movable feast, if you will, of being able to be so familiar with your own frequency and your own essence that nothing rattles you, that you can hear it, you can be informed, but you can also ask yourself, is this true for me? Is this true for me? And then also asking, what is wanting to be born in this moment? What would give me the most joy? And then the last thing I think I'll leave you with is that I know it's hard. I know it is hard out there right now. And I am not saying to just bypass anything that you're feeling. In fact, for me, what I found is that the quickest way to get through something super intense is to feel it and to be with it and to lean into it. And once we do that and we feel and we lean in and we really give voice to what is happening and we listen to what is going on within and we feel it and we move with it, we scribble with it, we scream into a pillow, whatever is necessary, then it brings space into the situation. And then now there's space to experience something else. And guess what? I mean, this is something I figured out a while ago, but I mean, it took me a long time, which is that we can hold more than one thing at a time. We can feel such sadness and grief, and at the same time, we can feel hope. At the same time, we can be, oh, spending time with this person is giving me joy, and I'm feeling joy right now. Creating this batch of chili is making me smile. Whatever. Like it could be whatever it is for you. Listening to this song, singing along, um, snuggling with an animal. These things can bring us peace and they can bring us joy. And learning to pay attention to that and following that thread helps. Like I only say this because it is what I practice. Am I perfect at it? Absolutely not. But a lot is going on right now, folks, and it's exciting. It can be scary, but I feel like the quickest way through this is to begin to do this practice of coming home to ourselves in the truest essence and to spread that back out into the world. Um, so that's it. That's it for today. Thank you so much for showing up and being here with me. I'm going to drop a couple of, I think there's already a link below in the in of the video of some communities, if not just the Creative Nectar community. If you would like to get familiar with your creative spark again, um, come see us. Or if you just want to hang out and talk and scribble, get a hold of me. I would love that. Okay, that is it for now. I love these chats. Probably the next one is going to be a chat with my dear friend and creative partner, Jenny Han. We're going to talk about creative flow and just flow in general and what that is looking like and how important that is. So hopefully that's what's next. And until then, sending much love.